Today I'm going to be explaining the skeletal system all the way down to the tissues that create it. So first, I would like to say that the skeletal system altogether is composed of bones and cartilage that allow it to facilitate movement. It allows us to function as humans and move our bodies along with the muscles in our body, the muscular system. It supports the body and creates a framework such as the skeleton. It produces blood cells, it stores and releases minerals and fat, and it protects our internal organs. The skeletal system is a very complex system. As I said, it's with bones, cartilage, and tendons. These bones are hard, dense connective tissue that form the adult skeleton, and these cartilage are semi-rigid connective tissue that provides flexibility and smooth surfaces for movement, such as like joints. To break down the bones themselves, there are many different types of bones. There are long bones, which are more cylinder-like in shape. They're more long than wide, and they are in our arms, such as our humerus. They're in our legs, such as tibia, fibula, and the femur. And they're also what make up our phalanges, like our fingers and our toes. The short bone is more cube-like. It's for stability and support. It's going to be for our carpals, which are our wrists, and our tarsals, which are our ankles. The flat bones are more thin and curved. Those are going to be for our breastbone, our shoulder blades, our skull, and also our ribs. The irregular bones are more complex shapes. This is more like our facial bones, such as our mandible, things of that sort, and also our spinal column or our vertebrae, which is very irregular. And the last type of bone that there is the sesamoid bone, which is small and round, and they are usually connected and embedded in tendons to protect them. And the only bone that is this way is this patella. So now that we have the types of bones out of the way, I want to explain a little bit more about that cartilage. So the cartilage in our body is meant to be softer and stretchier than an actual bone. The cartilage, it's mostly meant for us to be able to grow, such as like in our growth spurt or when we're pregnant, to allow flexibility in our stomach for that to move in and out, and our ribs need to be moved and things of that sort. So this cartilage is replaced by the bone tissue after the growth is done, and that makes it into from a epiphyseal plate into an epiphyseal line. So that would be after like the ages of 18 to 21. So not so much about pregnancy and those things. That was just an example of more of how we need to be able to have flexible structure. But as far as in our bones, talking about a growth spurt, our femurs growing, our tibia and fibula growing, and things of that sort for us to grow in height, and elongate, those will be turned from cartilage into our bone tissue after that growth spurt is done. There are also different kinds of cartilage. There is the endosteum, which is where the bone growth, repair, and remodeling is occurring. There is a periosteum, which is a fibrous membrane that kind of engulfs the outer surface of the bone. There is articular cartilage, which is a thin layer of cartilage that kind of reduces friction and is a shock absorber for the body. And last but not least, there is a diplo, which are flat bones, such as the cranium. They have a layer of a spongy bone. They're protected by two layers of the outer bone. So let's say I have this drawing here that might help. So we're going to have this here. This is our cranium bone. This is going to be the outermost structure, like I said. And this inside with the lines here is going to be the spongy bone that I was referring to earlier. The spongy bone is mostly for protection, but it is more flexible, which is the diplo. The compact bone in the periosteum is more very hard, compact, not stretchy, not movable. It is very, if you hit it and you crack it, it breaks kind of thing. It's very hard and it's merely for protection. There is also an extracurricular matrix in the bone, which is kind of like the bone's cytoplasm. And it has two things. It has water, or it has three things. It has water, it has collagen, and it has calcium crystals. Those kind of help for that to function the way it will and be able to have the bone flexible in that way. The last thing that I would like to add is there is two types of bone marrow. There is yellow bone marrow and there is red bone marrow. And as you get deeper into the bone, the yellow bone marrow contains of adipose, which is our fat tissue. And the red marrow contains hematopoiesis, which is the production of blood cells. So within our bones, we're creating blood cells, like I said before. It contains a fatty tissue that helps protect the bone itself. And yeah, that is pretty much it about the skeletal system. As I said, all together, it is composed of tendons, cartilage, and bones that facilitate movement. It supports the body, it protects our internal organs, produces blood cells, and it stores and releases minerals and fats.